Have you ever gone all in on something, believed, worked hard, done everything you thought you were supposed to do, only to fall short? To face failure instead of success? That kind of moment shakes you. It whispers that maybe you're not good enough, that maybe you're not built for more, maybe you don't have what other people have. And it's in those moments that most people quit. They stop hoping, they stop trying, they decide this just isn't for me. But it's that exact moment that matters the most. There was a boy who knew this feeling. He wasn't the tallest, he wasn't the strongest, but he had one dream: to make his high school varsity basketball team. So he practiced every day, early mornings, late nights, shooting until his fingers blistered, running drills until his legs gave out. And when the list was posted, his name wasn't there. He checked it over and over, thinking maybe he just missed it, but no, his name wasn't there. Imagine that moment. You poured yourself into something and reality answers back, not enough. He went home devastated. He cried, he thought about quitting, thought maybe the dream wasn't for him. But instead of letting failure define him, he let it refine him. He turned humiliation into hunger and pain into fuel. And that boy's name? Michael Jordan. And the reason I start here is this. Life doesn't always give you the outcome you hope for. You can put in the effort and still come up short. And that's where most people quit. They just stop. They start over and over again, never building anything that lasts, losing hope that it's even worth it. But that moment of struggle, that's not the end of the story. That's the beginning of it. Because the people who rise aren't the ones who avoid struggle. They're the ones who use it, who grow from it, who let it shape them instead of break them. And that's what Jordan did. And it's the same for you and me. If we learn how to struggle well, how to take the setback and turn it into progress instead of restart, you stop living in cycles and start building real strength, health, and habits that last forever. And like Jordan, you can use failure and struggle as the resistance that strengthens you. So you stop starting over and start moving forward for good. Stay with me because I'm going to show you the 3 categories that build a strong mindset. I'll break down what they are, where people get them wrong, and how you can build them into your life. These 3 pieces are what keep you from quitting, from losing hope, and from wasting years stuck in the same place. Here's the truth. Life is struggle. Every breath is resistance against decay. Every day is a fight against entropy. Struggle isn't proof that something's wrong, it's the design. And it's not just true for your mindset, it's true for your body. Muscles only grow against resistance. Lungs only expand under pressure. Even your mind only sharpens when it's challenged. So struggle is the raw material of strength. It's the gift. But when you remove struggle, the body and the mind don't get stronger, they get weaker. That's exactly what we've done in our modern world. We've made everything easier. Food at the tap of a button, entertainment on demand, machines to do our work. And the result? We're moving less, breaking down faster, and facing disease earlier. That's why I want to introduce a concept that most people have never heard of, made famous by Peter Attia, health span. Most people think about lifespan, you know, how many years you live, but what about health span? That's how many years you actually live well. How many years you can move freely, think clearly, stay strong, and live independent. And here's where struggle ties in. The more you can handle struggle now, the more you'll be able to handle struggle later. Right now, the resistance might look like dragging yourself to the gym, learning to cook real food, or picking yourself up after another failed attempt at consistency. But down the road, resistance will look different. Carrying groceries at 80, climbing stairs without help, keeping your memory sharp, chasing your grandkids without fear of falling. If you avoid struggle now, you'll be unprepared for the struggles that matter most later. But if you train yourself to face resistance, to learn from failure, and stop starting over, you'll extend not just your years, but the quality of those years. That's why mindset is the root of everything. Because how you engage with struggle today will decide how you thrive or decline tomorrow. And that's why we're here. Because the way you approach struggle starts with your mindset. I've broken mindset into 3 categories that shape everything else. Stay with me as we build brick by brick those 3 pieces that build up a strong pillar of mindset. Identity. Identity isn't something you declare, it's something you prove. Here's where people get it wrong. They say who they are without living it. I'm disciplined, I'm healthy, I'm fit. But when their actions don't line up, it's just words. And words without evidence trick the brain. They give the illusion of progress when nothing has actually changed. And it goes deeper. Many people also limit their identity to their current reality or story about themselves. They say, I'm just not a gym person, or I don't do that health thing, or I'm lazy, or working out is for fit people, not me. And as soon as they wear that label, it becomes a ceiling, because behavior always follows belief. When you get identity wrong, you end up stuck. You keep saying the right things or clinging to the wrong ones, but never shifting your reality. You live in a loop of trying without becoming. But when you get identity right, everything changes. Because your identity will always follow the story you believe about yourself. If you build the identity of someone who shows up, who works hard, who takes ownership, your life begins to reflect that. In your habits, in your strength, and in your health. To assess your identity, ask yourself, do my actions reflect the identity I claim? Do I declare more than I demonstrate? Have I accepted labels that weaken me? So how do you start shifting identity? You don't talk it into existence, you prove it into existence. Here's how. Step 1, choose one small action that embodies the identity you want. If you walk daily, you're a walker. If you train weekly, you're an athlete. Let behavior lead the belief. Step 2, align your words with proof. Instead of saying, I want to be fit, I want to eat healthy, say, I train, I eat healthy, but only when your actions back it up. Words become powerful when they reinforce evidence. Step 3, surround yourself with mirrors. Place yourself in environments and around people who reflect the identity you're building, not the one you're trying to leave behind. Step 4, keep stacking evidence. Every rep, every meal, every choice is a vote for who you're becoming. Over time, the evidence becomes undeniable to others and most importantly, to yourself. Identity is where ownership begins. And ownership is where strength, physical, mental, and emotional starts to grow. And once you build identity, something else opens up, the belief that you can change, which leads to the second piece, growth. Growth mindset is the belief that who you are today doesn't define who you are tomorrow, that you are not fixed, that struggle isn't punishment, but the very process of becoming stronger. And here's where people get it wrong. They treat failure as final. They take it personal. They see challenges as walls instead of doorways, or they settle into the lie that you're fine the way you are. It sounds nice, but it convinces us we don't need to grow. And it makes us question why we struggle so hard. When you get growth wrong, you stagnate. You stop taking risks, you avoid discomfort, and slowly, without realizing it, your body, your fitness, and your health all start to decline. But when you get growth right, failure becomes feedback, discomfort becomes training, progress becomes visible. You realize that you are loved and worthy, and you are not finished. Worthiness doesn't mean completion. Progress is the point. So ask yourself, how do I respond when I fail? Do I quit or adapt? Do I avoid what I'm bad at or do I lean into it? Do I measure myself against others or against who I was yesterday? Do I quit if I don't get it right away? So how do you start building growth into your mindset? You shift how you frame struggle. Here's what I mean. Step 1, reframe failure. Instead of I blew it, you ask, what did I learn? Every setback becomes feedback. Step 2, seek discomfort deliberately. Each week, do one thing that stretches you. A hard workout, a new skill, a tough conversation. That stretch is where muscle and resilience are born. Step 3, track progress. Write down small wins. Lifting a little heavier, running a little further, eating a little cleaner, speaking up for yourself. Seeing growth stacked in black and white builds belief. Step 4, stop settling for good enough. The moment you catch yourself coasting, challenge yourself to push a little further. Growth isn't about proving yourself. It's about improving yourself. And when you build growth on top of identity, the pieces start to click. And suddenly, the possibility of lasting change becomes real. But here's the catch. Identity and growth don't mean much if they don't last. Which brings us to the final piece, consistency. Consistency is the discipline of showing up again and again, long after motivation is gone. Here's where people get it wrong. They think they have a motivation problem. They don't. They have a consistency problem. Motivation is the spark. Consistency is the fire. When you get consistency wrong, you live in cycles of hype and crash. You start and restart. You blame the program, the timing, your circumstances. But the real issue isn't any of those things. It's that you didn't keep showing up when it got hard, when you failed. When you get consistency right, everything compounds. Because if success came from big efforts once in a while, look, we'd all be superheroes. But life doesn't change from rare effort. It changes from repeated effort. That's true for muscle, for fat loss, for healthy eating, and every habit that builds a longer and stronger life. So ask yourself, do I rely on motivation to act? Do I restart more than I sustain? And when life gets messy, do I adapt or abandon my habits? So how do you build consistency? You stop relying on willpower and start designing for it. Here's what I mean. Step 1, lower the barrier. Define the smallest habit you can always do. Yes, it will be boring, even on your worst day. That way, progress never stops. Step 2, anchor new habits to existing ones. Stretch after coffee, walk after lunch. Make the habit part of what you already do. Step 3, build systems. Set out clothes the night before. Prep meals ahead. Block time on your calendar. Make success automatic and failure inconvenient. And step 4, track streaks. Put a mark on the calendar every day you show up. Over time, those streaks become that proof that you don't just start, you continue. Consistency is where identity and growth stop being ideas and start becoming reality. Without it, nothing sticks. With it, everything compounds, including your strength, your fitness, and the daily habits that will carry you into your future. So let's go back to that moment we started with, that list on the wall, the crushing realization that things don't go the way you hoped. That's life. Things won't always work out the way you want. You will face struggle. You will fail. But that's not the end of your story. That's a chance to carry on. Because struggle isn't the obstacle. It's the process. The people who rise aren't the ones who avoid struggle. They're the ones who learn to struggle well, who let it shape their identity, who let it fuel their growth, who keep showing up with consistency after motivation is gone. That's the difference between surviving your years and thriving across your health span, building strength, maintaining healthy habits, and living strong and capable deep into life. Mindset isn't hype. It isn't fluff. It's the root of everything. Identity is who you believe yourself to be. Growth is how you sharpen yourself through struggle. Consistency is what makes all of that last. Together, they give a 360-degree understanding of this pillar of mindset. Every rep you lift, every meal you eat, every habit you sustain. Without them, nothing sticks. With them, everything compounds. Because building muscle, losing fat, eating clean, and staying strong for life doesn't start in the gym or in the kitchen. It starts here, in your head. So here's the question. Will you keep starting over? Or will you finally build something that lasts? The world doesn't need more excuses. It needs more people willing to rise to the challenge. People like you. So that's my question for you. Will you rise to the challenge?